right, and we are back. So, last we left off, you were being escorted into the town center by a group of soldiers and the lovely Miss Angel, who seems to be a scout of some kind for the town. Possibly a, more than likely a hunter that has been turned into a scout for the town, as she's the only one that has been able to get in and out of town safely and return. So you guys are both following her and the soldiers into the town center. You pass through the doors of the mansion of Governor Freeze's mansion. Get out into the town center. It is still empty. At this point in time, it is now probably the afternoon. You've spent a little bit of time in Mr. Gold's, and now a little bit of time at the governor's house. So it was morning. Now it is getting into the afternoon. Not late afternoon, but the afternoon nonetheless. You guys begin following Angela. She starts making a beeline for the main gate. The soldiers are in step with you, and you see up ahead the tall, shirred form of another soldier that you both recognize, even from this distance, mostly because he doesn't wear a helmet of any kind, and he doesn't have a large sword on his hip. It is the figure of Mr. Yeager, Captain Yeager, of the local army that has been stationed here for the time being, which you guys still have no idea why they are here. So Captain Yeager kind of waves over at Angel as they approach, and Angelica, and she kind of huffs a little bit. Come now. And she approaches. Are you guys approaching with her, or are you staying back?
I'll approach.
Okay. What about you, Marius?
Yeah, I'll follow her as well.
Okay. You guys are both following her. The soldiers don't approach. They get the idea that this might be almost like officers meeting each other. You two follow in step behind them, and he kind of looks a little perturbed at you two joining, but he doesn't say anything. He just speaks directly to her. I see we have our volunteers today, and he's not even looking at the two of you. He's looking right into her eyes. He says, yes, the governor was quite clear that they did not have much of a choice in the matter, as they shouldn't. And he now glances up at Seamus. You any good with that? And he points at the crossbow across your back.
I can bullseye a rat from 100 meters from this.
He says, prove it. And he points down the street. And ironically, there's a rat 100 meters away.
Oh, goddamn.
No, but there is a rat. There is a rat slightly up the street within your range.
It's okay.
This is a small target, so if you do attempt to shoot it, you will have a minus 10 penalty to hit it.
All right, I'll do it.
Do it.
All right, so it's minus 10.
Minus 10.
Oh shit! Damn, I rolled a 48, and with that minus 10, it'd be a 40.
So,
damn.
Shit. So
do
close.
you want to re-roll it?
Oh shit. Maybe.
No.
Nope.
No,
Okay.
I'll just let it go.
You take aim.
The guy told me to do it.
You take aim, and very confidently you unsling the crossbow when he challenges you, and you shoot at. You see a rat scurrying on top of one of the empty food stands down the street, and the rat kind of looks up, and it just goes over the top of its head and clanks into the building behind it, and it kind of and it scurries away, and Yeager says, "Of course you can use it." And he just kind of rolls his eyes at you. And then he looks over at Marius. And are you good for anything?
I can find silver.
And he once again rolls his eyes. Stay out of my way. And he turns his back.
He might be attracted to you.
And begins walking away. No. No, he is not.
Okay.
Angelic.
Yes, Lord.
Yeah, as you call back to him, he doesn't flinch. He just keeps going. He looks very perturbed that he's been saddled with you two to tag along. And as you guys are approaching the gate now, you notice there's a lot of soldiers gathering at the front gate. There are charred remains of, it looks like, wagons and other various timber and whatnot that were stacked against the back of this gate that are just falling to pieces. It looks like if somebody on the other side of that gate just pushed it, it would collapse inward. You get the idea that the front gate is no longer sustainable as a form of protection. So the next large-scale attack on Sealburg will probably be its last. As you were approaching, it looks like one of the soldiers has a talk. Angelica kind of waves him over, and you notice he's got a different marking on his lapel. Denotes him being something different. You're not sure. Most of the soldiers have swords and shields, the majority of them. But there are a few with crossbows, and you notice the only one who actually has a pistol was Captain Yeager. He's the only one that has a firearm. You get the idea that firearms are probably fairly rare, black powder especially, in this time period at least, in the Empire. But there are also a few spearmen as well. So Angelica calls over one, and he comes over. He's like, "Yes, Angel." And she points over at you, Marius, and just kind of points at the hole in your chest. And he goes, "Hi." And he walks up to you, Marius, and he begins prodding your wound with his fingers. It hurts.
Ah, careful, love. It's a little tender.
Ha! What are you, a Shalian priestess? Sack up, man! And he presses a little bit harder.
I pick my finger and I poke him in the chest pretty hard.
Ooh, hard? I mean, like, hard enough to make a check, or just hard?
Hard enough to make a check.
Okay, make me a strength check.
Ooh.
All right. Regular roll.
Just a regular roll.
Regular old roll. All right, here we go. It's settling. That is 6.
Jeez. Okay. You poke him in the chest, and he flinches, visibly flinches. And Angel kind of just smirks a little bit, and must have been, and he kind of coughs a little bit, trying to cover up what just happened. A bunch of the other soldiers look at him with like disdain, like, "I can't believe you just made that noise." And he starts. Okay. Take a seat, sir. Take a seat. And he kind of motions just on the cobblestone where you're at.
Ooh. I sit down.
Okay.
He
sits down.
Like I said, love, tender.
And he begins looking at your wound.
Yep.
And he applies a bandage to stop any more bleeding or any possible infection from taking root. And you heal for 6 wounds.
Oh, yeah.
So he's actually a pretty good hand at this. He looks like he's probably a field surgeon of some kind. Travels with the unit. You get the idea that a lot of these men probably have a similar skill set when it comes to this, patching each other up and whatnot. Though
I say, thank you, friend. It feels much better.
Hi, and he kind of like feels his chest, where even though he's wearing armor, he still felt that even through the armor, through the leather armor. Now, most of these soldiers are not wearing like plate armor. A lot of them are wearing leathers. Some of them do have like a just a plate chest piece. They are all wearing helmets. They don't cover their face, though. They just kind of cover the tops of their heads, kind of in like a circular kind of fashion. You do see some chainmail on a few of them, but for the most part, there's no distinct uniform as far as armor is concerned, but they are all wearing the same colors. So there is that. You get the idea that maybe these men weren't furnished with their own armor, but they were furnished with just a basic uniform to wear over anything that they had. So Jaeger is kind of speaking to a few men, and you see that about 20 men are gathered at the front gate, including himself. This includes the soldiers that were escorting you. This is a large portion of what's left to defend Sealburg. And Jaeger kind of steps up in front of them. Men, comrades at arms, today I ask of you yet again. We survived the fields of chaos. We survived the war. And by Magnus's name, we shall prevail yet again. I ask for your courage, men of the Empire. Stand with me. We shall hunt these beasts once and for all. Take their leader's head and drive them to the mountains. And a few of the men kind of, ah!
Yeah.
That's all I get from you two.
Oh, gee. Well, I mean, it was a good speech, but I'm just a peasant, so I don't know about going into battle. Sounds glorious or not.
The DM will remember this.
Seamus is just gonna slow clap.
It was good. It was good.
The almost mocking slow clap is heard, and Jaeger he's standing on top of above the ruined gate when he's making the speech down to everybody, and he just kind of looks over at you and just shakes his head. He's like, bloody peasants. You kind of hear him under his breath, and he takes the stairs down, and he's rallying
Good
the men.
speech, Lord.
Good speech. Oh God. And none of them are really paying that much attention to you. Angel, however, comes up, grabs Seamus by the arm. I'm hoping that earlier performance, was not a representation of your true skill.
No, you didn't feel that gust of wind that just blew up out of nowhere and took your arrow off track.
Of course I did. And she kind of rolls her eyes at you now, lost faith in you, and walks off.
Oh
no.
No.
I walk over to Seamus and I'm like, Seamus, my friend, you played that all wrong. You know, you got to be self-deprecating. You just, it was badly done. And I kind of sigh and kind of walk off. Whoa! Don't take it on me, friend.
Two of the guards that were with you. These are the two that actually escorted you out of Mr. Gold's. Walk up next to you. Sirs, we've been assigned to be your bodyguards of a sort.
I feel safer already.
All right, and they're the same two that you accosted, and Mr. Gold's. They actually look a little relieved to be with you after seeing your display of strength. Though they look at Seamus, and they're a little, after his display earlier, they're a little disappointed. They were hoping for more. But they are following you nonetheless. They are kind of attached at your hips. You get the idea that they may have actually been given the orders. They keep looking over at Jaeger, making eye contact with him, that they may have been ordered to make sure that you actually follow.
All right.
So they are now pushing all of the debris out of the way. A lot of the soldiers are. Do you guys want to help?
Yeah, I'll help.
Okay. Yeah, I'll help them.
Okay. With both of your help, I mean, and you have about 20 strong men here. Even Jaeger even pitches in, which is kind of unusual. You've never seen a a man of his stature actually pitch in with the rest of the lot. And everybody's starting to clear a path, and in little time they clear the front gate, and the gates are in shambles already from the various attacks, and there's actually almost a man-sized hole at the bottom that you guys can easily just kind of duck through and walk out into the killing ground as it was before the woods. Now, as you begin to move, the soldiers start funneling out, and you hear a calling from behind you. Marius! Marius!
I turn around to see who it is.
And you see the blonde-haired beauty of the Silver Thaggy, Miss Sarah, running towards you. And she's, Marius, please tell me you're not going. And she closes the distance.
Uh-huh.
Now she's within like arm's reach of you, and she's like grabbed a hold of your arms, which are still bandaged. And she's like, Marius, you're not leaving, are you?
I'm afraid I am, my dear. I've been conscripted into service, or should I say volunteered into service. It looks like we're on a mission of sorts. But I have a feeling if Sigmar looks over us, we'll be okay. And,
she looks rather upset at what you're saying. And is it true what they said about Mr. Catch? He's a traitor?
I don't believe the young master would do that. He seemed a little angsty, but I don't think he would set fire to a gate, sabotage for beastmen. It killed them rather effectively out in the field.
She kind of looks around at both of the soldiers standing next to you and kind of tugs you away from them. Are you going to resist?
Okay. No, I don't resist.
Okay. The soldiers don't make a move on you because of what you did to them earlier. They just kind of like let it happen. They're like, oh. They're keeping an eye on you, but your back is to them. And she reaches into between her bosom.
Oh.
And pulls out a rag. It looks like a bundle of something that she was keeping in there. Pulls it out and says, I kept these. I found them in the infirmary. And she opens it up. And there are 3 vials of a similar liquid that you may have been familiar with.
Yeah.
There is also a very bizarre and strange-looking necklace.
Okay.
It may have been...
Is it the same one that I have on?
It is different from the one you have. But you did, however, see this dangling from Ketch's neck.
Ah, these were Catches. I kind of whisper it to her.
Yes, she's like, I know, Marius, I know, just... He left them. I figured they'd be more used to you than anything. I don't know where he's gone. I would hate to believe that he's some kind of mutant, as they're saying, but I don't know. And she kind of just presses them into your palms.
All right, I receive it.
Okay. Are you going to like secret them away, or are you going to?
Yeah, I'll probably try to secret it away.
Okay. Where are you putting the necklace?
In my little, what do they call it?
Like a satchel or something?
Yeah, I've got I forget what it's called. It's like not a satchel. Like it's not leather. It's like a cloth sack.
Okay. Yeah.
That I have.
That's fine. You put it in your sack. As your hands close around it, I need you to make I need you to make a cool test.
All right. Just straight cool.
It'll be straight.
Straight cool. That is 35 out of 50.
Okay, you pass easily. You don't blank out, and lose consciousness. Instead, you feel a tingling sensation in your fingertips, and you hear a voice whispering in your ear. We meet again, Mr. Wolf. And you recognize it immediately as Mother Inga.
Yeah.
And it's coming from behind you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you spin around or?
Okay. Yeah, I look around to see if anyone's actually behind me, if it's all in my
Okay,
head.
as soon as you turn around, you startle Sarah. She's, and the soldier's looking at you very strangely. They're just like, what the fuck's he doing? And there's no one behind you.
Okay.
I made a deal with the other one, but you will suffice if you plan to have those brands removed. Bring me the head of Tarkag. Bring it to me. You will need this necklace. Continue.
I was just going to say, I nod. No, I don't say anything out loud, but just kind of nod.
You will need this pendant. It will sever the ties he has with the stone. And then that's it. You don't hear anything else.
All right. Okay. I turn back to Sarah and tell her, thank you. Thank you for these things, my dear. If the beastmen return, take Amber Belly to the mine. Get there and go as deep as possible. You should have a greater chance of surviving there than you would out in the open.
Marius, the mine has been deemed unsafe, Marius. There's been plague. And she kind of looks a little defeated, and the soldiers, Wolf, we gotta go. And he grabs you by the shoulder. We gotta go.
All right.
And she kind of is holding your hand as you're tugged away, and just kind of lets it slip. She's kind of reaching out for you as you slowly turn your back and walk into the open field. Seamus, what are you doing?
Has he departed, Sarah?
I'm assuming both of you are being corralled out.
If I'm standing next to him, I'm gonna say, "Maybe you should have gave her a kiss. We could be about to die."
Give us something to think about. And I turn around and I say, "See you soon, my dear," and head on out.
Okay. You guys are following the I'll call it a battalion of soldiers. You are kept towards the back, towards the rear, with your two guards in particular. A column is being formed with you can see somewhat over some of the shoulders and whatnot, and you guys are making it across the killing field. I need both of you to make perception checks for me.
Gotcha.
Oof.
I rolled a 78.
I rolled a 78 as well.
Oh, Jesus.
Does anyone want to re-roll their perception check?
You know what? I will. I will. I'll spend a fortune point.
Okay.
Is it fortune?
Yeah, fortune.
Okay. Here you go. 6.
Okay. Seamus, you
That's
are
out
two.
of.
Go ahead.
It's out of 30. 6.
Okay. Yeah.
Perception.
Seamus, you are too distracted. You keep trying to get a glimpse of the lovely Miss Angelica up ahead. You're kind of peeking your head around. You see the bow kind of dip up and down, so you know she's up there somewhere. Looks like she's actually a little bit further ahead, leading everyone with Jaeger following, actually leading from the front. So, but you, Meridius, you uncharacteristically are a little bit more at home in these woods, and you have a good eye out. The one thing you do notice is there are no sounds. There's no birds. There's no anything. This is very similar to how it was when you were in the woods last. Not much has changed. Yeah. Some of the piles appear to have lessened, as if maybe the piles of bodies that you've seen at the edge of the woods, some of them just aren't there anymore, that you didn't notice before as you were kind of walking, but as you're getting closer, you notice, man, there used to be a pile of bodies right there. They're gone. And several of the other piles seem to have lessened quite a bit, enough for you to take notice. It doesn't appear that anybody else has really noticed this, but you have for sure.
All right. I kind of lean towards Seamus. Do you notice that some of these piles have gotten a little bit smaller?
I'm gonna be continuing to try to see where Angelica is. Yeah, sure. They decompose.
Oh, all right.
With Seamus's reassuring words, are you just going to return back to looking ahead?
Well, yeah, I'm still kind of looking around to see if I notice anything that I can determine that would make the bodies kind of go away. If I notice you do see fresh tracks leading from the bodies into the woods, and it appears that they're following a similar course as to the one you're taking. Are they cloven?
They are cloven hooves.
Okay.
So they are definitely beastmen tracks. It looks like they have been coming back at least last night sometime, or possibly early this morning. They have come back and they've removed a large quantity of the dead from the killing field and have brought them deeper into the forest.
I looked at sort of some of the guards there. I guess the guards that are following me.
Yes, yeah, there's two of them
following us.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of point out the tracks and be like, I think some of these beastmen have taken some of these bodies.
And they now that you pointed it out, they're kind of, it all looks the same to me, sir. I'm not much of a woodsman. The one next to Seamus, however, kind of, there may be some air to this, sir. And he calls out ahead. Captain,
wait, friend.
And then he's already called out once, but you stop him.
Yeah, friend, give me 1 second. Let me help a friend out here. I lean towards Seamus and be like, Seamus, if you let your angel know that you've noticed some tracks and some missing bodies, maybe you get a little bonus points, huh? And kind of slap him on the back. What do you say? You discover they let her know that you've got some competency,
Oh yeah. That's why you're the smart one,
So I kind of invite him to go tell Angel about the tracks.
All right, so you're going to go find Angelica, Seamus.
Yes, I will walk up through the column, try to find her.
Okay, so you start passing through the column. Pardon me. And all the soldiers are just giving you this terrible look. They really don't appreciate your presence here. And then of course there's a distinct lack of respect for you. You have to kind of push your way through a few of them, but you manage to get to the front of the column, and Captain Yeager is there. He looks over. Boy, what are you doing?
I'm gonna look at Angel and say, Miss Angel, darling.
And she kind of turns around and puts her fingers to her lips. And Jaeger holds up his hand. Jaeger holds up his hand, and the rest of the troops just kind of stop in their tracks. And she approaches you. Yes, Mr. McCready?
There's some bodies missing back there. We passed them. It looked like there was some beastman prints in the dirt.
Okay. She looks. Yes, I see them. They're going towards the camp. They're probably for the festivities tonight. And
yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
She will nod her head, and Jaeger kind of nods his head as well. He's a little impressed. You noticed something.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And he kind of and for if you don't remember, Captain Jaeger is young. He's far younger than you, and he always has this smug look on his face. But he looks like he's accepted you a little bit. Kind of nods his head. Says, "Thank you, Master Seamus." And would you please take your place in line?
Yeah, sure. All right. Have fun up here.
And as you're walking past, you hear him and Angel talking. Angel says, "The camp is a few miles up ahead. I suggest we hit them as Morsleb is fully lit." And Jaeger is... you kind of hear him kind of whispering, to trying to keep this low. Yes, but the men will not take kindly to fighting in the moonlight. And Mr. Jaeger, if we are to be any kind of successful in this endeavor, we must take them by surprise. Take them at their least susceptible moment, if that makes any sense. And Mr. Jaeger he kind of nods his head, and I have a camp nearby, a place that we should be able to hide most of these troops. I will scout ahead, lead you to it, and then I will come back for you at the correct moment. And he nods his head, and I'm assuming you're filing your way back to the end of the column now, Seamus?
Yes.
Okay. So you make it back to with Marius.
I kind of give him a thumbs up.
Thanks, Mary. I think it worked. I think I'm like the love of our life now.
Of course it did, my friend.
Of course. Love of her life, indeed. So the column begins marching again.
I look back.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was going to look back towards the two guards that I stopped and be like, thanks, lads.
And of course, Master Wolf, the one that was about to call out was like, oh, yes, of course. And they both are still locked in step behind you two. And the column is moving slowly at a much more careful pace than you guys moved through these woods last. The first thing you notice, Marius, with your earlier check, is that you have yet to hear any braying, any barking of any kind. You know the last time you made it this deep into the forest, you were harried by beastmen. The most of the way back to town. So you get the idea that they have all pulled back to their main camp.
Okay.
You guys are slowly trudging along, still keeping your eyes and ears out. Everybody seems to be a little on edge, and it is starting to get darker and darker, and you're in the woods, and it's getting darker and quieter until you start to hear some of the men being startled up ahead of you at just like the odd rock clambering in the distance. But then suddenly the column stops. You both look up ahead, and there is a small cave that the men are funneling their way into. You see Angelica standing at the edge of the cave, as well as Mr. Jaeger. And they're counting men as they're walking through. And everybody makes it up until you two. Is there anything you would like to do?
No.
What about you, Mr. Seamus?
Actually, I might try to. I'm gonna try to hand. I'm gonna hand Seamus one of the vials.
Okay.
That Sarah gave me.
Okay. These are, in fact, the equivalent of healing potions. You both have had them before.
Yeah. Cool. Is there time to like take my bottle of hooch and like put a little rag in it?
Okay. So as you guys funnel past Jaeger and Angelica, they kind of give you both a nod, and Jaeger looks at the both of you. Angelica informs me that the governor has a personal mission for you two.
I believe so.
Then you will need to stay by my side. And he sits down at the foot of the cave, and Angelica kind of slinks off into the now starting to fade light as the moons are starting to rise in the distance. And he expects you to sit by him.
All right, I guess I plop down.
Yep.
Okay. Now, you can go ahead and what are you attempting to do, Marius?
I'm just trying to take if I have any spare cloth or anything to like take a rag and like kind of soak it into this hooch.
Yes.
And kind
you want to make a
seal it up.
Molotov, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
Go ahead and make me a. Didn't you have expertise in explosives, right?
I do. I have trade skill explosive.
Okay.
42.
Go ahead and since you're not in the thick of battle.
Okay.
Go ahead and make me a. You haven't done this before, so we'll make it an average test.
Yeah.
So plus 20 to your
Okay.
your trade explosives test.
Okay. That's 24 out of 42.
Ooh. 24 out of
42.
42. Okay, so you got a success, one level of success. You easily tear off a little bit of cloth. You actually, better than that, with that many success levels, you kind of look over, and one of the soldiers has got some bandages out, and he looks like he's rebandaging his arm, and you kind of look over to him, and he kind of looks at you and sees like the dirty shit all over you, and he expects that you're just going to apply the bandages to your body at some point. He hands them over to you, and you tear off some, and you stuff them down this foul-smelling bottle. As soon as you open the bottle, everyone in the camp is like, "Oh!" And Jaeger looks back at you, and is like, "Cork that thing! Cork it now!"
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord.
And you start stuffing the bandage into it, and you think that you've made. I mean, it's sealed pretty good, and you feel like you've made a relatively decent firebomb.
Yeah.
So you can write down that you have a Molotov in your inventory.
Yeah.
And Jaeger looks at you.
Down.
You easily could have given away our position, boy. Which is ironic because he's like younger than you.
I look to him and I kind of bow my head and apologize. Sorry, Lord. Sorry.
The beasts have a much sharper nose than us.
Apologies, Lord.
And then he accepts it and just kind of looks out. And he looks like he's looking even more resolute, looking out into the darkness. Is there anything you would like to do, Seamus?
No.
Okay.
No.
A couple of the soldiers, like he sees what you did with the bandage and just said, and he kind of looks at you and says, he kind of makes a motion and says, just keep the bandages. So you can also write down that you have a roll of bandages, Marius.
Okay. All right.
You see some of the guys are passing around booze, taking swigs of something. You're not sure what it is. A couple of them have started playing dice games in the back, trying to do it somewhat quietly, but you can hear the echoes of dice rolling in the deeper into the cave. And Jaeger looks a little perturbed and kind of looks over, but he's not saying anything to them. He's kind of letting them have a little time to blow off some steam from what's about to happen. The night keeps getting longer and darker, and you notice that there is a bizarre shine to the moon. The normal light, the moonlight, has been almost completely eclipsed with an eerily green glow. The forest is bathed in this green light from the moon as Morsleb has overtaken Mansleb. And the horrors that you have been told as children of what this day represents kind of come into both of your minds. And you can see even the hardened soldiers around you are a little visibly shaken. And these are men that have probably survived the fields of war in the latest chaos incursion, and yet they are still a little perturbed at what is happening around them. Even Captain Jaeger looks to be a little shaken. Then you see Marius.
Okay.
You see a figure step out of the woods. Luckily, with your roll earlier, I'm not going to make you re-roll it. You can tell easily that it's Angelica. She's slinking forward. And that's when... you know what? Actually, both of you make me another perception test. Seamus and Marius.
All right.
Oh. 52 for me.
Okay, you failed.
Yes.
I got a 50 out of 47.
It's a marginal failure. Okay, that's fine. So, Marius, you are just kind of caught in the moment. It's a very terrifying experience being out, especially in the woods during this night. It's something you were told even as a child. You stay inside, or the things will come to get you. The beings of chaos, the demons, the beastmen, the orcs, the goblins, everything, every monster known to mankind is out and about in these horrible, eerie times. Seamus, however, you notice that you're starting to hear a thumping sound. It sounds like it's probably, you've been hearing it for a while, but you're really starting to notice it. It sounds like it's off in the distance, but you're hearing a methodical thumping noise. Angelica closes with the entrance to the cave, and she gets close to Krieger, who then, Captain, the camp is just ahead. They've begun the feast. It won't be long now. And he kind of stalwartly kind of nods his head. And are you guys going to wait, or are you guys going to do anything else?
I wasn't probably going to do anything else.
Okay. Last chance.
Nope.
Okay.
Nothing for me.
You sit there in silence with your two guards still with you. And Angelica is looking out into the distance. You get the feeling that she might be able to see in the dark a lot better than most people. And she looks a little perturbed, but still isn't visibly flustered. She isn't in danger mode or anything like that as she's looking out. You hear noises even getting louder in the distance. And now at this point, even you, Marius, can hear, it sounds almost like drums. but they are the loudest drums you've ever heard. They're boom, boom, and they're starting to actually shake the cave a little bit that you're in. Some of the rocks are loosening from the ceiling and kind of scattering down upon some of the men. And it's getting louder and deeper and deeper. And this goes on for hours and hours at a time. And you can hear braying and screaming. And then you hear the screams of what sound like humans in the distance screaming. And then it all goes quiet. The baying slowly begins to fade. It's boom, boom. And then Angelica gets up and she motions for Captain Yeager. And you guys begin setting out following her. This time you guys are in the front. You begin trudging through the woods. I've never been this deep, Marius. Neither of you, Seamus, this deep into the woods. The trees are starting to grow together thicker. But she has made a path, or at least scouted up, almost like a game trail, it looks like, that you guys can follow in single file even. That's how thick the brush is around you. You're getting in there single file. Now, who's going to be in front of who? Will need to know that.
I'll probably be in front of Seamus unless he objects.
No, because I got I can shoot from distance, so
okay,
I can be in front.
All right, and then your two guards will be behind you, and Angelica will be in the lead, and then Yeager behind her, and then of course the rest of the troops behind them. So you guys are trudging through this forest, cutting your way through. I'm going to need both of you to make perception checks.
All right.
Oh, I got a 53 out of 47.
I got a 59 out of 30.
Okay. The eerie green light is deceptively camouflaging. It looks like shapes moving in the distance around you, but you can't tell if it's actually something there or if it's just this eerie glow about the trees as you're moving past. But you get the distinction that there's something out there. There's something moving in the distance. But Angelica doesn't look like she's on alert yet. She doesn't look like that. So you take a little time to calm yourselves, and you keep moving forward. Go ahead.
In the darkness, I kind of take out the amulet, and slip it around my neck.
Okay, so you're wearing both amulets now.
Yeah.
Okay, that's important to note. I will make a note of that. All right. The cool stone and the bizarre symbol that is as it touches against your chest, kind of, it feels almost like a tingling sensation as it brushes against your bare skin, and it almost is comforting in a way. It almost relieves you of a little bit of your sense of foreboding doom. Not completely.
Cool.
Just a little bit. So you guys continue to make your way forward. And that's when you come across your first stop as Yeager holds up his hand, stopping the column. And you've made it to a bit of the edge of what looks like a clearing of some kind. And both of you, even from where you can see that there are actually fires nearby, within probably 200 to 300 feet of you. There are dim fires, look like they're almost embers at this point. And you see Angelica kind of look up ahead. You see her slink forward. And she reaches behind her, draws her knife that she keeps under her cloak, and you see it just plunge down at her feet. Once, twice, 3 times, and there's blood coming up with it each time she does that. Not a sound is made. You don't hear anything. You just hear the of the knife plunging in and out of some kind of flesh. And then she walks over to the left very cautiously. And once again, there's just blood of some kind. It looks eerily black in the greenish glow of the moon. And she wipes it against her cloak. And she motions for Jaeger. And as Jaeger comes up to her, he starts making hand signals. And a bunch of the soldiers start splitting off into groups of 5. So you get 3 other groups besides. You guys have an odd number of people. So the other ones have groups of 5. We'll say groups of 5. And then it's Marius, Seamus, Angelica, Jaeger, and your 2 guards form one group. The rest of the soldiers split up into their own sets of groups. And they start spreading out and trying to encircle what now you can see as you have gotten closer is some kind of ramshackle. It looks like some kind of almost a tent setup, but the tents look like they're made of something, I don't know, something familiar but yet disturbing. There's odd markings and whatnot into what looks like to be the canvas. And then Marius and Seamus, as you start approaching the nearest tent setup, you notice at your feet is where Angelica was, and there are 2 dead Ungors. Looks like they had spears, and they are laying with both of their throats cut deeply several times. Methodically, there's blood spilling out, and there's a reek of some cheap, like disgusting alcohol mixed with the sweaty, nasty smell of wet fur, and there's a smell of burning meat, and it's just horrendous. But through the dim glow, you can see the tent flaps, and there are countless tents out in the distance. You can see them as far as the edge of this hill that this appears to be on. You have no idea how many beastmen are inside of this camp, but you know that there are numerous. But all seems to be quiet, eerily quiet. You can hear the snoring and kind of gurgling and definitely farting off in the distance. But other than that, it's eerily quiet. No one's made any sounds of alarm yet. The canvas itself, as you brush by it, Seamus, you notice that as you look over, there are holes in it, and then you see further down there's a much larger hole, and it's obvious that this is a man's face. You get the idea that all of these canvas tents are made out of man flesh. And you are definitely in the Beastman's camp. Through the low glow of the fire, Angelica motions over to Jaeger, and she's motioning for you guys to make a path through the center of this camp. Into the very center where you see there's a much larger tent in the near distance. I'm going to need both of you to make stealth checks.
So, let's see here.
Oh, yeah, I rolled a 6.
So I'm checking my stealth score here. Okay, here you go. Ooh, I rolled an 11 out of 26.
Yeah.
Okay. You both
Is that a crit?
Say what? Oh, 11. Yeah, it's a
crit?
crit. Yeah, you got a critical success on your stealth roll. Okay, I'll make a note of that.
All right.
All right. Nimbly, Oh, wow. I got to roll for the soldiers.
Oh, shit. No.
Oh no.
Okay. All right. Made a note of that as well. Uncharacteristically for the two of you, you start making your way through this camp, and as you get deeper into the camp, there's a beastman laid across the path that you're taking, and the only way forward is going to be to step over him. You see Angelica slowly step over him. She's not risking killing this one because there are two more beastmen laid on top of his feet, and then one around his midsection. They all look heavily drunk. You can smell it. It's horrible. The smell of feces and alcohol, and it's almost made you gag a little bit, both of you. But you're managing to keep it down because you know of the peril of what would happen to you if someone were to, let's say, kick this gore in the head on the way past it. So you both gingerly, you see Angelica step over it. Then you see Jaeger step over the same gore, dodging its horns. Seamus, you then, or Marius, excuse me, you're first. You gracefully kind of skip over the gore, no sound. Seamus, as your foot goes to move over the top of the gore's head, the horn moves into the way. But you freeze in place. And then he kind of snorts a little bit, and then you manage to move your foot around one of the horns, and you're past easily. The two soldiers following you.
Sure.
The first one, Nameless Soldier 1, goes to step over and easily makes it past. He clambers over and he's kind of sweating. You can see the sweat kind of on his brow. The second one, however, goes to step over.
Damn it.
And then easily steps over, and he's next to both.
Oh, yeah.
So you've all made it across the first hurdle of making it deeper into this camp. And you notice that there are just like a ridiculous amount of beastmen in this specific area that aren't intense. They are mostly ungores. There are some gores mixed in. You also see some very strange ones. You do, especially Marius. You see a beastman that doesn't have horns, but still looks like a beastman. But it has odd lumps on its chest, like a woman. It's a very bizarre sight. You see them kind of bathed in this green light, and there are a ton of gores laying around it, wrapped in, let's just say, promiscuous attire.
Oh.
You are trudging deeper and deeper into this camp, and then you make it to another obstacle. Angelica holds up her hand for everyone, and you guys are doing this by sight. You can easily see because of the burning fires or the dwindling fires and the moon itself, the eerily green glow oddly lights up this environment around you, which works both ways, which means that if someone were to possibly get up, they would easily spot you. She holds her hand up, motioning for everyone to stop. You see up ahead that you've actually made it so deep into camp that you're actually making it into almost a natural rock formation that it looks like has lots of these primitive scrawlings across it. And there are two more guards. It looks like they're both kind of halfway asleep. Two ungores with spears, one on each side of an opening in this rock formation. And she's motioning that you guys need to figure out what you're going to do to get past them.
Oh. Boy.
Now, the rock formation stretches for as far as you can see both ways. You're not sure if there's a way around. There might be. but she is motioning for you guys to go through.
Okay.
Now you've gotten past most of the herd that was on the outskirts of this camp. So it's thinned out. There's not as many gores and ungores and things like that in the near vicinity. They're probably within, I'd probably say, 100 feet of you, but you're not like right on top of any sleeping beastmen.
Okay. And are these ungores like half asleep, or just?
One of them is definitely asleep. Like you can see, like even from this distance, you're probably about 50 feet away. You can see Slobber kind of like on his like open jaw, kind of. And then the other one is nodding, like trying to stay awake, but has the eyes closed, obviously, because he hasn't made any alarm to your guys' approach.
Gosh. Yes. Fuck. I'm not good at stealth. Do I get to keep my stealth score from my previous roll?
No.
Damn it!
Well, you know what? You had a critical. I'll let you keep it.
Yep.
As your critical.
Ah, yeah.
Okay. So I'll kind of like motion towards Seamus to take out the sleeping one. And I'll try to go whenever I see the one that's kind of nodding on and off. Once I see him kind of nod down, I'm gonna try to move quickly as quietly as possible to try to finish him off with my dagger here.
Your dagger or your pick?
I mean, I have my pick, but I also have a dagger.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's more silent of a weapon. I feel like if I tried to hit him with a pick, it'd be a little bit loud.
All right.
So
that's
try
fair.
to slit his throat.
So you start you clamber up towards the front, and Jaeger kind of looks at you like quizzically. He just has like that expression on his face, like "What the fuck are you doing?"
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to try to relay something to him, or?
Yeah, I try to point towards I pull out my dagger and kind of point towards the nodding off gore. And I just kind of take do the slit throat, you know.
Yeah, he'll nod his head at you, and he actually draws his dagger as well, and he begins to move up behind you.
Okay.
Seamus, what are you doing?
Seeing everybody pull out their daggers, I will pull out that wicked-looking dagger that I have that I know nothing about.
Okay.
And I guess make a move towards that sleeping one.
Okay, you do that. You start moving up there, and Angelica looks back at you and motions for you to move ahead towards the sleeping one, and you see her unsling her bow on her back. She wants you to step in front of her, though, moving towards the completely sleeping figure.
Okay. I will do that.
Okay. All right. For the sake of brevity, I'm going to say you both manage to get within striking distance, so I'm allowing you to keep your old stealth roll.
Okay.
They're both sleeping. Well, one of them is sleeping. The other one, not so much. Let's see what happens with Marius's as he gets close.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Mr. Seamus, I'm going to allow you to attack first. They're defenseless. So once you get into melee range, it's an automatic hit.
All right.
How much damage does your dagger do?
5.
5 damage. Okay. Is that with your strength bonus?
And it does 1 for unarmed impale.
Okay, yeah. Because you're because this is the special dagger. Okay, so it's 3 plus your plus your strength bonus is 3, right? Or is it 4?
Strength bonus. I think it's just a 1.
No,
I don't have anything.
No way. No
what's
way.
your
no
strength?
Well, I don't have anything. I don't have. My strength's just 30.
Okay, so it's 3.
Oh, 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're looking at 6 damage. But I'm going to automatically consider that a critical. Go ahead and just roll me a melee attack, and we'll see if you get any extra damage. It can't miss.
And then melee is going to be weapon skill
Yeah, just weapon skill.
or melee basic. Okay.
It will be melee basic with your dagger.
I rolled an 18 out of 35.
Okay, so you also get the additional 2 damage, and then because it's a critical, I'm just going to double it. So I'm going to say you easily gouge this thing, and you rolled an 18. You said
Yes.
18. That is 81. Okay, so you go to use the dagger on the beast, and well, it doesn't make sense if it's sleeping. You've crumpled upon it. You sink it deep into its chest, and as you do, an arrow right through its right eye just pins it to the rock behind it. Oddly quiet. It didn't make that much noise as you kind of in tandem destroy this beastman that was guarding. At this very moment, though, the one that was kind of nodding next to it kind of looks over and kind of startles and wakes up. And Mr. Wolf, it is now your attempt to try to silence this thing before it sets off an alarm.
Okay. All right, that's a melee basic. Is it just a straight roll? Okay.
Yes, it'll be a straight roll.
Okay. Shit. It's a 39 out of 33.
Oh.
Do you want to re-roll this?
Yeah, I'll re-roll it. Take another fate point. Fortune point.
Yep.
Ooh, that's a 2 out of 33.
Okay, that is a lot better. So he doesn't have a chance to defend himself. So 2 plus your strength bonus is 4.
It's 4.
Yeah. So 6 plus 7, 8. So okay, so that's 8 points coming in. You sink it into his chest as well, and as you do, you see, you feel Jaeger kind of spring up behind you, and his dagger misses the beastman as it jerks as you stab it into it, and it clinks off of the stone. That was your guys' surprise round.
Oh.
Damn it.
Now you have 2 more people with you. I forgot about this. You have 2 more. You have your guards with you, so let's roll for them.
Okay.
One of them doesn't even realize what's happening. He's still sitting back there where you guys left him. The other one, however, your other guard, seeing what's going on, he makes a quick run towards you. It's a little noisy. He runs and he jumps, and the point of the dagger enters the beastman's skull, and the eyes just kind of roll back into its head, and it slumps against the wall.
Nice.
Shit. I look around to see if anyone's noticed.
Okay. Both of you make me a perception check.
All right. I got a 13 out of 26.
Okay, good.
I got
Or, sorry, out of 30.
30.
30 out of...
I got a 30. 47.
Okay, so yeah. So both of you kind of looking around. You're definitely perturbed at what just happened. You start looking around at what's going on, and you don't see anybody moving behind you, but you start to hear from inside the structure you're about to enter. From the other side of this stone bulwark, as it was. You're starting to hear some shuffling, some movement, perhaps. So you got the idea that maybe something is amiss on the other side of this wall. But behind you, it's business as usual. Everybody is drunk and sleeping.
Okay.
What would you guys like to do?
I sheathe my dagger and pull out my pick.
Okay.
I kind of look towards Angel to see what if she's saying anything, or Captain Yeager to see if they're kind of...
Angel now cleans off the blood, sheathes her dagger as she comes up and finishes off the beastman that was lying nearby that no one saw but her. She sheathes her dagger and keeps the bow at the ready with an arrow nocked and just nods towards Captain Yeager. Captain Yeager reaches at his hip, removes a pistol, you see, very similar to the one that Mr. Catch has, or had.
Oh, shit. It's about to go off.
Removes his pistol, and then he reaches with his offhand, and something you guys hadn't seen yet, he removes what looks like an eerily thin, pointy sword. And it looks flimsy, as all get out. You would know this as a rapier. He pulls it out, and he's got it at the ready. And he motions for you, Marius and Seamus. He motions for you two to go in first.
Of course he does. I kind of roll my eyes at him and go in.
Okay. Seamus, are you following?
I am.
Okay. You guys both step into this. It's a little tight of a stone structure. There is no roof above you. It's just like an opening hole in whatever this kind of stone bulwark is. You squeeze through, and there's scrawlings and markings across the walls. It looks like it's been dabbed in literal feces, and also blood. Dried blood. You get the smell of vomit, and there's a copper smell in the air as it smells like a lot of blood has been spilled nearby. You pass about 5 feet of stone before it curves around a bend, and then it opens up into another opening area that is completely devoid of any trees. Now, I need the two of you to make me stealth checks real quick.
All right. Fuck. I rolled a 56.
Yes, I love it.
I rolled a 53.
I love it even more. All right, let's do this, boys.
Oh, yeah.
So you turn the corner, and there are actually large, almost like braziers made out of like bone and whatnot, set in the center of this massive clearing. And the floor looks like, like the ground looks like it's made up of hundreds of thousands of tiny little shapes. The green light is shining directly into the center of this, almost like it's being funneled, almost like there's something channeling the moonlight that should be encompassing this entire area into this one specific point in the center where there is this massive stone. You don't know how you didn't see it coming up here, but it is black with green almost energy kind of emanating off of it. You're not sure if it's the light or if it's just the stone itself. There's carvings and scrawlings, and Marius, you recognize some of the symbols as those that were on your scroll. And they are pulsing with energy and glowing. And you're both of you are almost hypnotized as you look at it. And you both make steps into the clearing. And you hear crunch, crunch, as both of you are now standing in a field of bones. There are hundreds of thousands of bones that litter this entire area. And you are loudly stepping through them. As soon as both of your feet crunch into them, you hear off to your left and right, and you see 4 figures, 2 from your left and 2 from your right, stand up out of what looks like little small outcroppings into the sides of this almost circular pattern that's been almost chiseled with like crude weaponry, no skill at all, into this circular pattern that makes this dome. And they are wearing black plated armor. They are definitely beastmen of some kind.
Jeez.
Some of the largest gores you've seen thus far. 2 massive curling horns on each of their sides, and they each are wielding a 2-handed black axe that has notches tethered into it. And they look up at you and they meet your gaze and they just stare.
What are Captain Yeager and Angel behind us?
You hear them coming in behind you. They're not at your back yet.
I look at Seamus. I'll take the ugly one, and I start charging towards the.
Okay. Before you charge, as soon as you say "I'll take the ugly one,"
Okay.
you hear a voice bellow out from behind the pyramid. "Manling, I thought you wouldn't come." And this huge, gigantic hand clutches the side of the stone. And then something crawls out from behind this massive edifice. And you see a horned head. 4 massive curling horns coming off a head easily the size of a large horse's. And this figure, boom, boom, stands up 12 feet tall. Looks and looking down at you with 3 eyes. 2 of them where a normal horse's would be on the sides. 1 in the center of its skull that's glowing a bright red. It has a gigantic sword the size of a tree clutched in one hand, and there are flame like runes glowing around the hilt and through the blade as fire springs up through the tip of the sword. "She said you would come." And you are in the presence of Tarkag the Unfilled. His massive belly bulging through the pieces of armor that have been hammered into his massive body. He is bigger than the ogre you guys saw. And he looks just as strong, if not stronger. He has a black tinge to his fur, but there is a white streak through the top of his head. And like I said, he does have 4 horns, unlike the normal 2 that you've seen on most of the gores today. And from the other side of the pyramid, a figure steps out. This time, one about the size of a normal man. But it has an odd look about it. It has horns, but they're in the shape of a deer's antlers. The pelt that you see is completely black, and it looks like the top of the jaw covers the top of the head. It doesn't look like there's a top of a head almost. There's almost just a jaw outcropping, and there are serrated teeth lining the top of this being's head. There doesn't look like there's any eyes that you can see. There's just something underneath, almost like it's wearing a skin on top of its form. And it doesn't say anything. It just reaches its hands out, which are heavily tattooed, and they are extremely human looking. Both hands, it reaches out from underneath what you assume now might be a cloak. And it starts swirling energy together in the palms of its hands. And that's where we're going to leave off today's episode.
Oh.
Oh, gee.
Tarkag!
Tarkag!
Finally!
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was a
boy.
long one, boys. We had an extra bit of time in that one.
We did. Well, that's good.
Oh, man. Well, hope you guys enjoyed.
I did.
Yeah.
Always.
All right, I'm going to close this out real quick. Thank you guys for watching. This has been our 6th session, I believe. Yeah, this is our 6th session of our Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. We have finally made it to Tarkag, and we will see how he murders our band of heroes vehemently. I don't know how you guys are going to live through this. I honestly don't. But we'll see how it goes. There's always those threads of fate to pull. So, as usual, guys, I have been Jumbo Thick. I'd like to say thank you to all of my players. Thank you guys for playing. We wouldn't have a story without you guys. You guys did awesome tonight. Had a lot of good rolls. Had some bad rolls. A lot of good rolls, though. A lot of good role playing. But had some good ones. You made good ones when they counted. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Good stealth checks, up until the end there. But on the whole, it went pretty well. So I would like to say thank you to all of the viewers out there. And as usual, guys, I am Jumbo Thick. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section on how you guys feel about the campaign and whatnot. If you have any advice for young Marius and Mr. Seamus here on how they can survive their upcoming battle, we shall see. I have been Jumbo Thick. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next episode of Rise of the Forsaken. Have a good day.